What's also important is we share about the work of the ACLJ, because we are right now in our 35 years of victory drive. We are talking about the victories we had and the victories we will have going forward. The ACLJ fights for life, but also fights to win. I think that's a little bit different. I know you may say, well, of course, everyone does. That's not necessarily true. There are a lot of people out there that are just happy to rake in fundraising, take any case possible, knowing they probably are going to lose, not fighting their best fight, because maybe it's better for them. Maybe it's better for them to lose financially. But we don't do that here. Some topics we've essentially put ourselves out of business on because of how successful we've been here at the ACLJ. And that's okay, because that's the point. But we are joined now by CC Heil, senior attorney here at the ACLJ. CC, we got some updates on what we were doing. We're filing briefs. We're getting really critically involved in a lot of what's going on for standing for life and against the federal funding of abortion and state funding of abortion.
Yeah, and I think abortion is one we'd love to
it'd be great to move on
out
from.
of, lose any more work on abortion. We'd love to win this once and for all. So we are once again talking about that case in Massachusetts where Planned Parenthood went after the federal government for their funding freeze, which, of course, Congress can do. They have the power of the purse. They stopped funding to Planned Parenthoods, those that provided abortion and got over $800,000 reimbursed for Medicaid. That is absolutely in control of Congress. In the control of Congress, they can do that. But Planned Parenthood filed in Massachusetts again. They look for places where they know that they will have liberal judges that will follow them. Like we talked about this case, this judge, in her opinion in the district court, literally it was like a Planned Parenthood advertisement. So she enjoined the spending freeze that came out of the budget. She enjoined that. So that means she is forcing the federal government, our taxpayer funds, to be paid to Planned Parenthood. And like we said, we're going to follow this case as far as it goes. And the government has filed their appeal with the First Circuit, and they just filed their a motion to stay that injunction. And that means they filed a motion with the appellate court to stop the injunction of the lower court, meaning that that funding freeze, no funds going to Planned Parenthood, remains in effect. And so we just this morning filed our amicus brief in support of the government's motion to stay. And right now, we are the only amicus brief that has been filed in support of this. Hopefully, there will be more, but we have filed. We're on this. We tell everybody, we're ready and set to go. And as soon as our due date came, we filed it this morning first thing.
That's right, Cece. And even with this, to show even the work of our attorneys, how closely they monitored this. Originally, they thought that our filing was going to be Friday. So a full extra day to write a brief that isn't short and has to be correct and have the law and the facts as we present to the court correct. Yep. And find out 2 days ago, actually, your deadline is Thursday at noon, and our team filed it before that deadline this morning. We're able to get that ready so that we can be on the record, so we can support the administration's position that this is an issue that can be handled by Congress, that they can pass a law. The president can sign that into law, yes. And they don't have this constitutional right that they're trying to claim to the funding and reimbursement from Medicaid. And so our attorneys are diligent, hardworking. They know the facts. They know the law.
Right.
And that's why at each stage of this, we're going to be there.
Right.
We're going to be there filing these briefs. Even if we're the only one outside of the parties to the case, we will be there to fight for the absolute right that Congress has to defund Planned Parenthood.
Right. And I'll just get into, our brief says that there's no constitutional right to subsidies for abortion providers. The Supreme Court has said that over and over and over, that the government can value life over abortion. It can value childbearing over abortion. The Supreme Court has said that. Congress has the power of the purse. We make that clear. They talk about a bill of attainder, which is a bill that actually is punishment, and it's only been used 5 times, and it was for death, imprisonment, or banishment. So the fact that Planned Parenthood is simply not getting funding from the federal government, that in no way equals punishment. And then we point out that if a court tries to control the power of the purse, that actually interferes with the separation of powers. So it's a very important amicus brief, and it's important right now because we need to make sure that this injunction is stayed, that these funds stop going to Planned Parenthood, because as we've talked about before, the stop of funding only applies to 1 year right now. 1 year. So if this injunction stays in place while this appeal is going forward, that means that it's going to time out this 1 year restriction of funds. So right now we need to make sure that that injunction there's a stay on it, that the funding can be withheld and Congress can do what they voted to do, what the taxpayers wanted them to do, defund Planned Parenthood. That is a law in place, and it needs to be honored.
And I think, Cece, even for the audience, that maybe this isn't their issue. Maybe they don't follow the funding of Planned Parenthood or even care about that. I mean, we very much do here at the ACLJ. But even this entire concept in the law that Planned Parenthood is trying to say, once we were receiving this funding, effectively, Congress can't take it away forever. That the dangerous precedent that could set with fiscal conservatives that want to shrink the size of government, that want to get the bureaucracy out of so many things, that want to see these handouts to special interest groups or non-government organizations, which are effectively quasi-government organizations, that this could set precedent where anytime Congress tries to stop wasteful spending,
yes,
in their opinion, if the plaintiff comes forward and tries to say, you can't take my money away,
right,
and they start pointing to this, like, this has much broader implications, right, in my opinion, than just this specific fight.
There's no entitlement to federal funding, and it's not just about, this argument is not just about taking funding away that was there. It's even like taking funding away, just deciding not to fund something. That's how dangerous it can be. It's like, well, federal government, I believe you should fund me, and you've decided that you're not going to, but I have an entitlement to federal funding. So yes, this goes way beyond just Planned Parenthood and abortion. It's definitely a separation of powers issue, and it's definitely an issue that Congress has the power of the purse, and they don't have to be forced to support or not support anything.